everyone, and welcome to this week's Down the Rabbit Hole. This week we're talking about two quilts, not one, except that they're both the same pattern and one of them you won't ever have seen before. This quilt is called, oh, this quilt's on the wrong side of me. This quilt is called Jungle Boogie and it's from Material Obsession 2. This quilt was not originally going to go into the book. It wasn't designed for the book. It was designed for my son Oscar, who played the tuba. He was a tuba player and he was a very tiny little boy when I designed this, maybe year 4 or something like that. So he was 8, I think. And he was so small that you used to be able to put him into the tuba case and close it. So him playing the tuba was an interesting little adventure. And I used to joke him about, you know, playing the Jungle Boogie on his tuba. It was like this boom, 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 big deep thing that he was playing. So that's how this quilt kind of came about. And he had seen this Ichino fabric, which is a Japanese fabric, and he'd seen, I think, the bright red one in my stash with the little cheetah on it, and he really, really wanted it. He wanted that to be in his quilt. And so I found the reverse of it online, and I think we ended up ordering it for the shop because we loved it so much. It's a sort of a linen-y canvas type fabric, and that became the 2 blocks that were in here. And then I really wanted it to be a boys' quilt, and I loved the idea that it was the jungle and all that sort of thing. So that's why I had all of these leafy fabrics all in there. And the idea of all of the arrows was supposed to be that it was the cheetah walking through the jungle. So the plan was that it was kind of like the cheetah's tracks through the jungle. And I had that in my head when I designed it. Now this quilt's looking pretty faded, I have to say. It was on his bed for a very long time until he was a teenager. And, you know, boy's bed, right? It got washed a lot. And Oscar used to get nosebleeds and things, so it was constantly covered in blood or, you know, whatever else is on boys' beds. It's been vomited on, all of those things. It's just, this is a very family quilt, this one these days. It was photographed for the book and then it became his. But when it was finished, he loved it so much that Charlie wanted one the same. So I did Charlie's quilt, and Charlie's quilt is the Arctic Boogie. So we went to the same designers and we found that Ichino had not only panthers, but also polar bears. So I've got the reverse of the polar bears, and then instead of all of the dark jungle leaves in the center, I have the little penguins in here. And so then I went for icy colours. So I've got all the light icy blues and everything all through here. And then the footprints of the penguins and the polar bears are all in the brown so that they would stand out against. I looked at making them white so it looked like snow, but it was just so light that you couldn't really do that. But as you can see, this quilt has had a very hard life too. It's got big stains all over it. And if you were standing in this room, you would see that this brown quilt is actually about 4 inches shorter than the other quilt. I'm not sure if Jamie can show you that. See how much shorter it is? So this one, I think, actually went in the dryer at some point. I normally don't put my quilts in the dryer, but I think maybe from memory he was sick and I was away and my mother-in-law might have washed it and put it in the dryer. So that's how much it shrunk. It's shrunk a lot over the years. And you can see it's got stains and, you know, all sorts of things like that. But it has been a very treasured piece of patchwork, this one. They both have. And both of them hold enormous memories for me, you know, of them being little boys and reading them stories and all of that sort of thing. And to me, that is the value of quilts, is not the show ribbons and the, you know, the accolades and the published books and all of that sort of thing. These ratty old things is what quilts are all about. They've been loved, they've been slept under, they've had children wrapped up in them, they've been kept for years. And that's why we make quilts, most of us. That's why we make quilts, because they're emotional, they're special, they're made for our loved ones, they're made for a baby. And these quilts are absolutely that. So if you would like to make Jungle Boogie for one of your little people, it's obviously available at the website. And it's available in PDF and paper, as always. It's also in Material Obsession 2, if you're lucky enough to have a copy of it. It's not difficult sewing, but there are a lot of flying geese, so be prepared for lots and lots of triangles. And if you've made it, then I would absolutely love to see it. Now that it's funny getting all these quilts out for you guys each week, every time I see one that I'm really fond of, which obviously I'm very fond of these quilts, I really want to make them again. So you never know, over the next, the coming years, we might do a few sew-alongs, not just strawberry fields, because I'd love to make this quilt again too, and maybe make it bigger for my bed or something. Anyway, we'll see. But it is a very fun make, and it is also another wonderful way of showing off your big prints, having something featured in here. It's a great thing for kids, but it would also be wonderful on a queen or king size bed, because you can put big florals into here and all of that sort of thing. You could even, if you're adventurous, make that out of plain fabric or plain, quiet spot or something, and have applique in that center. And maybe that's what I'll do when I redesign it. You never know. Anyway, peeps, thanks for joining me this week down the rabbit hole. Patterns are available, sarahfielke.com. See you next week.